What's up, everybody? Tuesday night coming at you. A brand new episode of Flyers Talk A to D. Got a little bit to talk about tonight. We got some signings. Got some signings going on. So we're going to talk a little bit of the Jett Luchanko signing his entry-level contract, and we got two restricted free agents taken care of. We got Bobby Brink signing a contract as well as Yegor Zamula. We're going to talk about that, how it's going to affect the team, how it may affect the rest of the offseason. So don't forget to hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share if you're on the Facebook side, hit that retweet.
What? Oh, I think we lost Bry. All right, guys. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the retweet. Let me pull up the intro here. Whew, that came out of nowhere. Hold on a sec, guys. Bear with me. And where are we? We are right here. All right. We'll be right back. Coming at you after the intro. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of Flyers Talk A2D. I am Matt Sassuti, along with the now returned Darkwing Brian Daly. And
Just
down
had
here.
a power surge. Jeez Louise.
Oh, that
Everything
explains
just
it.
reset.
I see. That explains it. Luckily, I have access to everything, so that was good news there.
Thank God for my hotspot. I was like, wait for everything to reset.
Right. Meanwhile, we also have Mr. Blue Shirt, Mr. Broadway, Mr. Switzerland, Big Bad Brad Ryer. And tonight we are brought to you by, as always, the Dr. Paul Vidal over at SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. If you have any aches and pains and it's causing you a lot of frustration, then guess what? All you got to do is go to SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com and they will take care of you. You head either to Cherry Hill or Burlington, New Jersey, and they'll make sure that you are as good as new. All right, so poll question for today. Jett Luchanko will make the NHL roster out of training camp. As we know, Luchanko has officially signed his ELC, so he is now going to be a part of the Flyers organization. We'll see if it's possible. Maybe he starts working at it this year, or maybe he doesn't. Gentlemen, what do you think? Do you think Luchanko will make the NHL roster, or do you feel like he will be a little bit more of a project? So we'll probably see him in the minors and or possibly in junior hockey if he's not finished in junior.
Personally, I think I'm going to disagree with the poll. And as I'm only disagreeing with it as of this moment in time. At this moment in time, the Flyers currently have 4 guys covering center. You have Coots, Frost, Lawton, and Paling. So right now there's really no open spot for him to get those steady minutes because those guys, those are the 4 guys you want to rock with. They make a massive difference
And
just
also,
about every game.
Well, I was going to say also, Paling's only going to take a limited amount of minutes. So even if he takes his spot, it would not be a lot of time on the ice.
True. But, I mean, right now for him, the best bet for Jett is to get as much playing time as humanly possible, whether it's with the Phantoms or whether it's going back to juniors. I don't necessarily see him going back to juniors, to be honest with you. I do think he does fit the Flyer system way too well and actually is a very good fit for this organization. So I don't necessarily know if they want to use waste really any time with him and get him on the Phantoms as soon as possible. So this way they can get him up with the big club as soon as the trade goes down and they have an open spot for him to actually get some of those minutes. Now's the time for player development.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I'm going to disagree as well. I don't think Jett makes the roster out of training camp. I think that he will definitely have opportunities to show what he can do. But I don't think the Flyers are going to try and rush him out to the big roster. I think they're going to let him maturate a little bit down there in the minors or in juniors. I just don't see him making the roster out of training camp. The only way he does that is if he's scoring like 5 points a game in the preseason. And even then, you're just like, well, I mean, even then, I can't necessarily say that he's ready for big time because you're not facing the starters. But still, all the same, Brad, how do you feel? Agree or disagree?
I agree. I think he's going to make it. Actually, I'm
Okay.
not.
Okay.
I look at the Flyers roster. Okay, I look at their centers. Okay, I center ice is really a very thin spot on the Flyers. I don't think any of the guys that you mentioned, okay, are that good that he can't possibly make the starting team. Okay, I have a funny feeling that as long as he is good enough defensively, I think he will make the team. I think defensively is going to be the key because if you think about it, John Tortorella is very much a defensive minded coach, and if the kid is responsible enough defensively, I think they'll give him every opportunity to try to make the team. I think they're going to put Mitchkov with him, and I think they're going to in preseason. I think they're going to see how that works out, and I just have a funny feeling you're going to see them uh, on the opening roster.
All right.
You know, a lot of things can happen between now and the beginning of the season. They still want to trade Frost, right? They're looking to trade him. They're looking to get some extra cap space. I just have a feeling they're gonna do what they can to get the kid in there. That's maybe it's just me, but I'm not crazy about any of those centers that you named.
All right. So we got Mike here saying, question, if Pete Rose was in the NHL, which team would he be in trouble with for gambling? For me specifically, honestly, if you wanted, I mean, the obvious choice is Vegas, but I don't think that would be the one. I think Pete would try to be slick about it. So I would say, I'd say Philly. I think he'd be in trouble with the Flyers, honestly, because like you know what, he was a former Philly, so you know what, there you go. It just makes total sense for him to be doing some shady stuff with the Flyers. Not that the Flyers have never been in trouble for doing stupid shit before. So let's see here. Say Jett is a gem of a steal from the draft. He also says, and he also says he starts 5 games. Um, let's see.
I'm not
Uh,
against that.
what him starting
Um,
5 games?
yeah, I'm not against that. I mean, he has that option before you could either send him to the AHL or you send him back to juniors. You have up to 10 games to show what you can do. If that's a choice and a road the Flyers want to go down, I'm all for it because it gets him a little bit of exposure to what the NHL is like at full speed with some of the rosters at um, you know, you're full on NHL roster, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. But me personally, I would try and get him as many minutes on and develop him as much as you can before figuring out whether or not if you want to say that he's a gem. I'm out to lunch on that yet. I like the pick of the player. I don't like where they picked him at 13, but I think he's a good pick. I think he's a fit to what the Flyers are doing, and I think he's going to have a bright future. I think he has the potential to be a second line center for the Philadelphia Flyers for a long time.
All right. So we got Pove chiming in here on the chat. Pove is MIA this week. So he'll be back though. He'll be
No,
back.
he's not. He's right there.
Well, he's MIA in terms of being on the show itself
Um,
on
but I
screen.
mean, he's right there though.
I mean, he won't be in 2 seconds after we read his comment. So Anyway, Poe's saying, disagree to the poll. Jett has looked phenomenal in development camp, but that's summer camp, and even if he has a great preseason, he's only 17. Needs time to cook in the juniors of the AHL, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing I completely forgot. He's only 17. There's
Right.
no there. I don't see him making the roster at 17. There's no like Sidney Crosby was youngest player to ever crack an NHL roster at 18 and some odd days. I like Jett. I have a lot of high praise for him, and I have a lot of expectation for him. But there's no way he's cracking this roster before 19.
Okay. Eric Wisniewski saying, I'm excited to see him with the Phantoms, at least.
Behind that 100%.
Old City Sports Network says he will.
Okay.
What's going on, Pete? He's giving us a good evening. John, what's up, brother? He's saying, what's up, hockey fam? What's going on with you, dude? Hopefully everything's going well with you. What's up, Priz? Saying I'm back. Sorry, guys, got distracted. I was here an hour early, though. Oh, okay. You were anticipating today's show. Nice.
Yeah. He forgot what time we went on. He thought it was the old school hockey happy hour show when we went on at 8 o'clock.
Whoops. Anyway, Eric saying he puts up 46 points with the Flyers. Whew. He just comes out and just smashes. Okay. All right. I mean, I hope. I do like that confidence right there. Greg saying, what's up?
46 points from the rookie all day.
Oh, yeah. You take that every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Take that, you could take that from Mitchkov. That would
take that from
be a bad
Mitchkov.
thing either, actually.
Absolutely. Greg saying, what's up? What's up, Greg? He also says, is the Mad Russian long too? Yeah, he's here. Mitch is here. Let's see here. Greg saying, my guys disagree to the poll. What's up, Raska? Saying, what's up, boys? Mike is saying, imagine Luchanko turns into Sid 2.0 and becomes generational. Oh, that would be phenomenal.
That's
the chances of that happening, though, are very, very low. But but even if here's the thing, Mike. Even if he just scratches even a fraction of the talent that Crosby has, then he's already phenomenal in Flyers history. So it's probably not going to happen that way. But even if he's just slightly like that, we got a great player. So, is he going to be adopted by Torts? He might be. I could see it happening. Maybe they'll be best buds. And he says, I'm excited for Mitchkov too. I am as well. Cannot wait.
I mean, it's hard not to be excited about this roster, though.
Right. JR saying evening. Evening to you, sir. He says, hey, Bri, what's the Phillies game update? Did they win?
They didn't win yet.
10-1?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough sell for the Dodgers to come back in this one. It's 10-1 going to the bottom of the eighth.
All right.
Smoking the Dodgers.
He said, sorry, boys, my auto text sucks. As you could tell from that comment. It's all right, man. Auto text gets us all. Anyway, so obviously Luchanko, the big star for tonight, signing his 3-year ELC. Of course, obviously, the Flyers will, I would assume they'll be patient before starting that. And let him get a chance to develop before they officially say, hey, let's let the 3 years kick in. I feel like Luchanko, at least in my opinion, only because of the draft that he's coming in, I feel like he's a little bit more of a project, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing. It just means you got to put a little bit more time into him. But you could still get something phenomenal out of that. There's plenty of players that come into the league in their projects, and they turn out to be all-stars. year in and year out.
Mhm.
So by no means is that a bad thing. I just think that because the draft class was rather weak, I think Luchanko's going to sit for a minute or two in the minors. And if he goes back to juniors, he goes back to juniors. The point being is that whatever the reason is, I'm sure that I'm fine with that. It's like, listen, let him develop, let him get his, let him get the time he needs to, transition. And then when the time is right, you give the kid 5 games. I mean, even so, you could give him a short stretch. You could split the 5 up if you wanted to. I mean, you can't split it evenly, but you give him a couple of games somewhere early in the year. Maybe give him 3 if he's doing well in the AHL, if he's not back in juniors. Just say, all right, let's give him his 3, and let's see what he can do with these 3 straight. And you can go and do something like that. You don't just have to do the 5 straight in a row. Some teams do, understandably so. But who knows? There are options. And again, it's a project. So take your time. Take your time. I'd rather have you take your time and have him come out gold than, rush him and ruin him.
Yeah. Most position players won't hit their prime until 24, 25 anyway. So you got time with the kid. Allow him to develop. Give him time to continue to grow. Again, 17 years old. He has a lot of time. I highly doubt that he's going to come in here at 17 and make an immediate impact. There's no way. Take the time and get him to, again, I don't see him cracking the roster out of training camp, mainly because of his age, not his ability, mainly because of his age. I highly doubt that he's going to, like I said, come onto this roster, make an immediate impact. Send him back to juniors. Let him develop down there a little bit, a year or two, and then bring him up, see what you got in camp. Allow him to keep coming to camp and just kind of showing what he's doing better. Because Flyers are going to want to know. They want to see the development of every player. It doesn't matter whether or not they're going to send them back to juniors. You have to be able to do something. Show them something. Show them where you're growing. Oliver Bonk has a much better opportunity to make the roster out of camp. I think Denver Barkley has a better opportunity of making the roster out of camp. I don't see Barkley making this roster yet, but if he can have another year with London that he had this past year, there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to wind up on the Flyers roster, not this season coming up, but the season after. It's just a matter of time of just letting these guys develop and grow and not rushing them into situations that they're just absolutely not ready for. Again, there's 4 guys already covering all 4 center positions. Guys that have been in this league, guys that have been in this organization, guys that have earned the spots that they have. Luchanko, like anybody else, has to earn his keep. So
I just decided to look it up for the hell of it, and apparently the 8 of the youngest players in NHL history were Grant Mulvey, who played for the Chicago Blackhawks way back in the day.
I remember him.
Yeah, apparently he debuted as an 18-year-old, which is not unheard of in this league. It's not common, but it has happened. Jack Schmidt, who played for the Bruins way, way back because he was born in 1924. And let's see here. Next up, Ted Kennedy.
Years ago.
Right. Ted Kennedy, who is one of the more famous Toronto Maple Leafs from the original 6 era. And Jackie Hamilton, who also was another famous player for the Maple Leafs. Don Gallagher for the Boston Bruins. Again, a lot of these guys were from the original 6 era. So you had Ross Johnston, another one, or John Stone, Don Rowley, and then the final one out of the bunch is Bep Gitteline for the Boston Bruins. That's a name you don't see anymore. Bip. I've never heard of anyone ever being called Bep ever again in my life.
Question.
Yes.
any of those guys under the age of 18?
From what it said there, no. Almost all of them were 18 years old.
So I'm not sure. Maybe somebody in the chat can confirm this for me. I'm not sure you're even allowed to play an NHL game under the age of 18.
It might be true, and I wouldn't be surprised because of
Yeah, I didn't realize he
rules
was.
and
I didn't realize he was under 18.
right.
That's
I forget it every single time, and then somebody brings it up. I'm like, right, he's 17.
So,
17. Yeah, he probably isn't allowed to play in the NHL at 17.
Priz is saying, by the way, if y'all are rebuilding, trade. Who's he saying? To the Jets. Trade Superman. Okay, that's what he's saying. Trade Superman to the Jets. And then since you're running it back, he'll be a better producer because his only spot in the lineup is with Paling's spot. And it seems that he won't be in the playoff race where the team's got momentum and then gut the team and tell them for a second year in a row, not now. They are too good to be clear tankers, and the worst place to be is middling.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that for the most part. I'm definitely. I want to be behind it. I want to see Jett as soon as possible. But again, I don't see Jett cracking the lineup until he's at least 19.
Right. That would probably be the case.
I just don't.
Mike's saying
think
we had a passing.
He's a very good player. I think he's going to fit the system very, very well. I think he's going to have a lot of success this roster anytime soon. Yeah, it's not an ability. Yeah, Tony Voss. I think it's Voss in the Phantoms organization. He was a winger, I believe, left winger.
So let's see here. Mike is saying we had a sad passing in the Flyers camp. Don't know what that. Who passed away?
It was Tony Voss.
Oh, okay.
More known
Michael,
for his days with the Phantoms, but
got you. Okay. So Mike was saying, I mean, we said Wisdom was a project and that he may be a bust. He spent too much time in the AHL and hasn't really developed in our system. Happens sometimes. Some players, they come in, you give them all the chances you can give them, but sometimes they just don't develop. It's what happens. You might just be a career minor leaguer. What's up, Benny?
what's up, B?
Eric's saying, I want Nicholas Goon traded or take a Phantom demotion. And Mike saying Michael Renberg is going into the Hall of Fame, Legion of Doom. Yeah, that is nice to see. It's nice to see that you got all three members of the Legion of Doom in there. You got Leclerc, Lindros, and you got Renberg.
When did Renberg wind up in the Hall of Fame?
I think he said he's going into the Hall of Fame.
Not in this class. This class has already been announced. It was
He's in the Hall of Fame.
He might be in the. I think he might be in the Flyers Hall of Fame.
Flyers Hall of Fame, yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Flyers Hall of Fame, yes. He's not in the NHL Hall of Fame.
I don't know if Renberg will be in the NHL Hall of Fame though, because he was a good player, but I think he really benefited from working with Leclerc and Lindros those years. And he wasn't terrible when he went to other teams. It was just that he was a depth player when he went to other teams. When he was on that top line with Leclerc and Lindros, those were his best seasons.
Guys, Pat Verbeek, who scored over 500 goals and had 2,000 penalty minutes, isn't in the Hall of Fame. I can't see Renberg being in the Hall of Fame. Just my opinion, but it's not easy. It's not the Baseball Hall of Fame. They really make you earn it in the NHL.
They do. They do. Yeah, Benny's even saying, no, Renberg's not an NHL Hall of Famer.
No, that's where I got confused. He's deserves to be in the organization's Hall of Fame, but the NHL Hall of Fame, I
That
like
might be
Renberg, but no.
that might be what Mike was referring to.
That's the case, yes. Yeah, as a Flyer, yes.
What's up, Don Don? See, I generally agree, but there is a difference in developing with London versus golf. Teams are worlds apart. With London, it is a program that is run like an NHL team. That is true. There are those programs that have a lot to be desired in the league as compared to others in junior hockey. That could mean that they want him in the Phantoms instead of wanting him to go back to juniors. But then again, it is his decision. If he decides he could go back to juniors if he wants to.
No, I was kind of just thinking of something. What's Barkley's age? He may not be able to go back. He might age
Oh,
out.
well, he probably would. Yes. I thought he was talking about Luchanko there for a second.
Well, Luchanko wouldn't go back to London. That's not where they drafted him from.
That's true. Eric saying, my prediction, Russian scores Gordie Howe hat trick with 3 hits and 3 takeaways, then gives Torts the middle finger. That would make him one of the greatest Flyers of all time, I think, right there.
That would be interesting.
Right. And Jim Binkle, what's up, man? Saying, you have one person? No. We have plenty of people commenting here. Anyway. Yeah, hockey's it's pretty big in Philly. I wouldn't go as far as to say that.
Just Facebook.
Yeah. Anyway, Benny's Nation, not ready to give up on Wisdom.
Yeah, if he can take a giant step forward, I think Wisdom could be good. But I'm kind of on the fence that he's probably not going to ever make it to the NHL, at least not with the Flyers anyway.
How old is Wisdom now?
22.
Oh, he's still young.
He's not old, no.
Yeah, I mean, 22 is not old for a hockey player at all. I mean, it's still really, really young if you think about it.
Right. But I mean, again, if he turns into something great, if not, it is what it is. It happens sometimes. You can't predict them. You can only just do the best you can in developing the talent. And if it isn't going to go through, it just isn't going to go through. There's nothing you can do about it. Jim does say Wisdom is done. Was a non-factor in camp. And he also says Luchanko is going to be a huge addition in a few years. And let's see here. Tom
he's
saying
22. They expected him to be a project when they first got him.
True.
That's just what it is. Like, it's.
Looks like Bry's breaking up.
Lag
there.
right now?
Yeah, you got a bit of a lag going on. What's up, Tommy? By the way, Tommy's chiming in here. Let's see.
Some young players don't develop as fast as you'd like them to. I mean, there's a lot. Look at Matt Zuccarello. Matt Zuccarello didn't get to the NHL till he was 25. And, he ended up being a really good player.
Yeah, he's been a very good player.
Some guys, just don't find it. Until all of a sudden when Zuccarello was 25, he started putting the puck in the net. Sometimes that's what happens, and and he's still playing. By the way, I think he's 36 and he's still playing.
Well, like you said, man, some people take a little bit longer to develop. It's just what happens sometimes, and they get really good careers out of it.
Yeah, but the Flyers have so many prospects now. This guy may no longer be a serious prospect in the Flyer organization, but he could end up being a good trade bait.
Yeah, true. Mike's saying, which junior leagues do you like more, the WHL, the OHL, QMJHL, or the UCHL? I think the OHL tends to have some really great organizations in there. The WHL, I would say, would be right up there with them. I feel like the QMJHL can be a little hit or miss at times. And the UCHL, I mean, that could be a hard sell for some people. Not that it's impossible, but I don't think too many people are as behind the UCHL as they are the other three.
Western Hockey League seems to have all the big goal scorers.
Right. OHL seems to have a lot of all-around players and goaltenders.
Yeah.
That seems to be where a lot of they come out of those organizations. Especially London. London really pumps out a lot of talent in this. I believe in the goaltending department. They usually do. So let's see here. Yes, Jett was with golf. And let's see here. So Eric wants to know, what was Renberg's career numbers? Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a quick look here, and let's put him up to the stats test here and see how he stacked up against some of the top players in the history of the NHL. I mean, obviously, like you were saying, it's hard to make it in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's really hard. There's some guys who really you would think are very deserving to be in the Hall. Steve Larmer is another one that was a real good player that isn't in the Hall of Fame.
Right. I mean, there are some great players who have come through the NHL doors that are really great depth players. Yeah, so Renberg's career numbers with his time with the Flyers and the Lightning, the Coyotes, and the Leafs, he had 190 points, 274 assists for 464 points in 661 games. No. That's good. He's a good depth player. Really good depth player. And his best years, from what I'm seeing here, yeah, his best years by leaps and bounds were with Philly. Yeah, during that period when he was in the Legion of Doom, those were his best seasons by a country mile. Because by the time he winds up in Tampa, his production dropped off pretty decently. And when he came back to Philly, his production didn't really pick back up. So, although he had some production in Toronto, and apparently Phoenix would probably be years he'd like to forget. So, which I think most people would.
All right, I think I'm good.
All right, cool. That's good to see. I know sometimes good old interwebs, they don't always like to work sometimes.
My everything's been acting kind of wonky since that power surge at the beginning of the show.
Right. Jim saying, who are we getting, Zegras or Natchez? I lean towards Natchez.
He's still available. I would say Natchez. I think he fits more. I think he fits a little bit better than Zegras. I know John Tortorella is not big on Zegras. He had some comments to say after the Michigan, or was it the Michigan, or was it the flip over Buffalo's goalie to Sonny Milano a couple years ago?
I think that was the one.
He's not a fan of the flash finesse player, but I think Natchez is a much more hardworking blue collar style of player. I think he would fit Philadelphia much better than Zegras would.
Natchez is definitely a Tortorella type of player.
Yeah, I think that would be the one you go with at the end of the day is Natchez. I mean, if they wind up getting Zegras, it'd be interesting. But the thing is that it'd be interesting in all the wrong reasons, where that could turn into a problem if he doesn't work well with Torts. So Mike's saying, so is Nashville going all in on the Cup? Yes, they absolutely are. You don't go out and get Stamkos and Gensel unless you are 110% trying to go for a cup. And they didn't get rid of Saros. So
No, they
Everybody
doubled down
expected
with him.
yeah,
It's all right. Oscarov's out.
right. So Nashville's going all in here. They want to win it. They are in it to win it this year.
He's very, very upset with that organization and how it was handled. And now Oscarov is saying he wants out. You were going to trade.
Blame him?
No, not at all. Not after you sit there and you sign your starter after basically saying, hey, I think we're going to trade Saros. Then you essentially, like what you said, Brad, you double down. And then you go out and you get another backup. Come on, man.
That tells
I don't blame
me
him.
what that says to me.
He would
is
not, he'd be a very good fit for the Flyers.
Oscarov.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, get another goaltending prospect. I'm fine with that.
I know you have a lot of goaltending prospects, but I'm not
do.
sold on Fedotov yet. I mean, you'd like to see a bigger sample size than what you saw just from last year. I mean, coming right over from Russia and then throwing him in the net, at the end of the season
During that bad stretch.
Yeah, and they weren't playing well defensively. The Flyers that could be a little difficult.
Right.
Plus he's never played with those defensemen, so he doesn't really know anybody's tendencies. That's kind of tough. That's a tough ask.
And the other thing to that, Brad, is Fedotov and Kolosov both don't really know anybody. There's not really any like Russian players either. You bring in another goalie of all positions from a Russian player. You know how much more comfortable that makes two guys?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, listen, the guy is. I think that guy is a starting and a legitimate number one goalie in the NHL. That's just my opinion, but that guy is really good. Saros. I mean, look, Saros is better. We know that. Okay, but I mean, if you're a cup contender and you're trying to win right now, you probably would want to put Saros in the net at this point. But I mean, you're looking at a guy that can grow with your team. That's young enough that I think he'd be a perfect fit. I mean, I don't know what Nashville would be asking for him. Probably a lot, I would imagine. But you never know. I mean, the Flyers right now have a lot of prospects, so.
They now have 3 first-round picks in a deep draft. If you can get a young goalie like Oscarov, I would be willing to deal 2 of them.
I don't think you'd have to give up that many.
There's not a whole ton of prospects that they really need if they're going full-on win now. They're probably not going to ask for many players. They probably want some draft capital if I know Barry Trotz.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think you're going to have to give up 2 first-round picks. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you probably
maybe a first and a fourth.
I mean,
you're going to need more than that for a guy who's a potential franchise goalie.
Well, then you could, if you want to, throw in a player that has been on the chopping block these last few months to possibly trade off to Nashville, adding more depth to their.
Do they have cap space for that though?
That's a good question. If they don't, then
you swap Urson. He's not making a ton of money. He's not going to hurt the cap space for them.
You could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, Urson can be slaughtered as the backup for Saros.
Bigger upgrade than Scott Wedgwood, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott Wedgwood is. I mean, he has his moments, but he's not a starting goalie.
No, I think the Sharks found that out the hard way. But then again, the Sharks suck. So know.
Yeah, but like Ken Dryden couldn't be a good goalie with the Sharks.
Not right now. No, absolutely not. Mike says, any update on Hart? Well, they didn't qualify him. So his time in Philly is done, and he's probably never playing in the league ever again. So that era is over.
To be honest with you, with Hart, who cares? Until this trial's over,
Yeah,
does it really matter?
It doesn't even matter. Even if he's found not guilty or exonerated anyway, he's never going to be able to play in the league again because everyone's going to hold that over his head. I mean, hell, you saw it happen in the NFL. Michael Vick came out after serving his prison sentence, and there were plenty of people who still talk shit on him after he came back to the league for years after
He did
that.
get a chance to play again, though.
He did, but again, people just shat on him every chance they could off of
Benny's
that.
comment that just came in. I 1,000% agree with that. He will get a chance to play again. He's not going to get a chance to play in the NHL. He's either going to be playing in Europe or he's going to be playing in the KHL. He's done here.
Yeah.
Dylan Dubé signed with the KHL. Their careers in American hockey are done.
Right. They're not going to get a chance in any North American leagues.
Yeah, they're not going to. The NHL doesn't stand for that stuff at all.
Even the ECHL wouldn't be taking those guys on because it'd just
be
a bit.
I think they're too old for the ECHL anyway.
Still, the point is that it's like, boy, isn't the ECHL just semi-pro? It's not a.
No, it's considered pro. It's the what is it? The Reading Royals or whatever. They're an affiliate of the Flyers.
Yeah.
That's ECHL.
Yeah.
So they're considered pro hockey.
Okay. Well, either way, I mean, they're not going to be able to get an opportunity there because also as well, those leagues are affiliated with the NHL, so they probably wouldn't be getting an offer anyway because the big clubs wouldn't look too fondly on that, and those smaller clubs wouldn't want to lose their partnerships with the bigger teams. So, and they would lose sponsors and whatnot. And for smaller teams, that kills you immediately, not having any sponsors. For a bigger team, you can take the hit. You can't take the hit if you're an ECHL team. No. So, yeah, he would be over in Europe with the KHL. Highly doubtful that you'd get a chance in North America again. Let's see. Swoopy saying he disagrees to the poll. Benny's saying, well, you better get there because Michkov is going to be that flashy player.
In a much different way, though. In a much different way.
You know what? Michkov could be a flashy player the way, not exactly like him, but in a way that Lindros was. Lindros was a power forward that could actually skate and move the puck and actually deke a little bit. He could also still throw the body around when he wanted to, which also got him a bad rep at times. But still, the point being is that that's the kind of player I think Michkov could be, as opposed to being the small, speed of skating around everybody player.
Zegers has a lot of maturing to do as a player. He still goes out and does what he does to show people up. And a lot of players in the league don't like him, especially some of the old school players. You know, I've seen clips from former NHL players who want to knock his teeth down his throat. So there is definitely a difference between the flashy that Zegers is and the flashy that Michkov is. Michkov plays the game in a much more mature way than Zegers does.
So let's see here. Priz saying, oh, that's right. They got Marchessault. They didn't get Gensel. I don't know why I keep getting them mixed up. Where did Gensel go?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. That's right. Yeah, but still, all the same, they're going full in to try and win a Stanley Cup. Let's see here. Benny's saying, believe it or not, I'm not nearly as moved on what Nashville has done. Stamkos and Marchessault have a ton of games on those legs with a bunch of deep runs.
No, Stamkos is really good.
I mean, the thing is, it's like, I think special teams wise, just adding Stamkos in there alone ups that game so much that actually adds you wins because you become that much more deadlier on that alone. And also on top of that too, with Stamkos, he's not going into a role where he's going to be the captain. So I think that, he'll have a somewhat, not like a massive, but a little bit more reduction in the minutes. So I think that would be good for him. And I think that will prolong his production ability. And then for Marchessault, I feel like he's a machine. I don't know how that man, I just don't think he ages. The guy can just put up points whenever he feels like
He's
it.
got one heck of a motor. I just wonder about him though. He's been pretty beat up in his career.
He has been, but it hasn't slowed him down. That's what's weird. Like there's been no signs of slow from him whatsoever.
Who's he gonna play with on the? I'm just wondering, like who's he gonna play with on that team?
Stammer?
No, Marchessault.
He's going to be on the second line with Stamkos and crap. I'm blanking on who's going to play center.
Forsberg?
No, Forsberg is going to be on the first line. Hang on, give me a second. I'll know it as soon as I see the name. But the good thing about
see them all the time. So
the good thing about Stamkos signing with the Predators, it's going to be Tommy Novak.
Okay.
So it's Stamkos, Tommy Novak, and Jonathan Marchessault. They'll be on the second line. That being said, it's going to very much be a very good situation where not all the pressure is going to be on Stamkos now. He can actually just come into an organization, be a guy, score some goals, play really good solid game every night, and help the power play and help Nashville take the next step.
Yeah, that's essentially what I think is why I think Stamkos will probably do better in Nashville. He never did bad in Tampa, but I think it'll be a more prolonged production period for him. He won't get ridden into the ground because as captain, your job is to be there almost every time. So I think with that, it'll be a different role for him, but I think it'll be a role that prolongs him a little bit longer than where he was probably going to go if he stayed in Tampa as captain.
Let me ask you guys a question. Okay. Do you think Stamkos is more of a power play specialist at this point of his career?
I would say that. He still does have production on the even strength.
Yeah, but Tampa Bay, if you look at what happened with Tampa Bay last year, they were a lot like the Rangers, very similar situation. Great power play, but 5-on-5, they were barely above average.
And a lot of that is Tampa Bay had some gnarly injuries all year long. They lost the majority of their defense, so that surely doesn't help the 5-on-5.
No, that's true.
But that's the biggest difference between the Rangers and the Lightning. When you lose your main defensive player in Sergachev all year long, that makes an impact on the team. Do I think he's a power play specialist? Yeah. Do I think he's a power play specialist? I do. Do I think that's all he is? No, because he's still a very effective player with the right guys around him, 5-on-5. But, they're not Edmonton, where it's one line and a power play. That's it.
No.
And a penalty kill.
Stamkos can
that penalty kill got hot at the right time. So don't even he just got hot at the right moment.
So you're saying that the Western Conference had an off year on their power plays because they allowed Edmonton to have a good power play.
Edmonton always has a good power play.
No, I mean penalty kill. That's what I meant.
No, Edmonton's penalty kill specifically. They're not that good. They just got hot at the right time.
So Swoopy saying Mikko Rantanen, a future Philadelphia Flyer, will Colorado let him leave? Nah.
No way.
I don't think so. I think Rantanen's not going to Philly. Love him. Love to see him, but it's not going to happen.
I think at some point he is going to leave Colorado. I don't think it's ever going to be for Philadelphia.
Again, I think it's going to be one of those. I know that the Flyers are going to have cap space, but I don't know if they're going to again, I just don't know if they're going to do the same thing that they had done in the past where they would make that big splash. I don't necessarily want them to either. So it's just, I think like Rantanen would be a big splash. He'd be one of those players that's like, wow, that's a big splash signing
If
from
you
the
guys
Flyers.
got him, my God, I mean, he's one of the top players in the league. But I just don't. Colorado is not going to just let him go. They'll figure out a way to fit him in.
Just like when the Rangers signed Joe Sakic to that to that offer sheet, I think Colorado will try to figure out something.
Yeah, and by the way, remember who's their general manager right now?
Right.
Yeah, and they're not going to let that guy go. No way. They'll figure out some way to keep him.
Me, Metal Mike saying Oscarov, I would take easily.
It's not even a question, Mike.
SJM86 says, "What up, hockey fam?
What up, bro?
RIP. Tony Vasi. Yes, absolutely. Mishkov is an absolute game changer. I'm also very excited about Oliver Bonk, and his hockey IQ is outstanding. I agree.
Very much agree.
Me, Metal. What's up, bro?
Just real quick, just to jump back to the whole Rantanen thing. Looking at the cap hits right now. Rantanen's up in about, it's actually after this year. So the possibility of him hitting free agency is going to be good. A lot of that reason is because, you got Jonathan Drouin who's going to be up. You're going to have Nikolai Kovalenko, who's a big guy in their organization. They're going to have to re-up on him. Calvin DeHaan will be up. Eric Brandstrom's another one who'll be up. He's an RFA. He's a 24-year-old RFA. Lord knows with that one. But, I mean, as of right now, looking at the cap space, they may not have the space to re-sign him. But a lot can change in a full season. So, as of right now, just looking at the numbers, as of right now, they wouldn't be able to afford keeping Rantanen.
They might just make some moves, though.
Things can change, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, 1,000%. 1,000%. A lot can change in a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they'll find a way to get some cap space, even if they have to trade somebody and give up a draft pick to get rid of somebody who's making money. They'll do it.
Like, for example, do you think that you would you would trade like a Devontae's to work on keeping a guy like Rantanen?
Or Nicolishin?
Or you could do that. I don't know, Nichushkin, do you feel like he would be? I don't know, because I feel like he is a vital part to that team.
Yeah, but he's not Rantanen, though. Rantanen.
That's a good point.
Nobody's going to want Nichushkin.
That's true also, yeah. So I don't know if you could do that.
He's going to have to prove that he can stay off whatever the heck whatever he was doing that's not allowed.
Yeah, he got popped for that.
He's going to have to control himself and not continue to do whatever it is he was doing.
Contract length, though, too, that's a lot to ask for a team to take on with what he's going through right now.
They could buy him out, though.
That would be awfully silly to do. You're paying him $3 million for the next 12 years?
Yeah, but you can't let Rantanen go.
No, but at the same breath, you can't pay a guy for the next 12 years. You can't.
No,
you
that's
can't pay.
True. If it's not him,
I mean, the Flyers did
it. I'd be shocked if they let him go. I really would be. You got to figure out, if you're Colorado, you can't let him go.
Not unless he says he wants out.
Well, that's another story. If he wants out, then he's going to be out. But I mean, would you want to leave there if you were a hockey player?
I mean, they're starting to go on a downward swing, so possibly.
Well, me, Metal Mike is saying, I'm not moved on Nashville. If any team that looks like to have the added depth, I say Colorado is the only one I see making a deep run. I would say Dallas has a chance to make a deep run.
Oh yeah. They're still going to be good. They just have to figure out a way to get over the hump.
Right. That's always the big challenge. I mean, say what we will about Edmonton. Edmonton can still do a deep run. I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying it is possible for them to do it again. Will they? We'll see. But all the same, it's not impossible for a couple of teams to make some deep runs. Can Colorado do a deep run? Yeah, Colorado can do a deep run. I don't doubt that. The question is, though, is their offense going to be firing on all cylinders? Because that's what's going to be the key for them to go on that deep run.
Is
They
the goaltending good enough? That's
the big issue too. It's like, is your goaltending going to hold up? Because that's been a bit of a bugaboo for them.
Yeah, I mean, Georgiev just isn't good enough.
He has his moments, but like you said, it's not enough to get that team to the big dance again. Which he didn't get them there the first time. Grubauer did.
I mean, that's a spot where the guy on Nashville could end up going.
Possibly. I mean, hey, if you're Colorado, you might.
He's not making a lot of money, so that's.
I mean, if I'm Colorado, I wouldn't mind going after Askarov. I mean, honestly, I would think about it.
I'm making money now.
Right. Let's see, SJMA 16. If we can get Drysdale's defense to improve, his skating and offense are so tantalizing. The two worst on-ice defenders, Provorov and D'Angelo, gone is an addition by subtraction. Yeah, I think Provy he became a prima donna and just did not want to play anymore after a while. And D'Angelo has issues almost everywhere he goes. So it's not
everybody
a shock.
Hates him.
I wonder why. The dude's a nutcase.
I mean, he you know what I mean. When I see him play, I don't really get why everybody hates him. I really don't, because he sticks up for his teammates. You know, he's a really good offensive player. I know he's not great defensively. I mean, we had him in New York for a while, and he wasn't in. He got into scuffles, as you all know, with everybody, and the Rangers got rid of him because he was a big pain in the ass. I just, as a player, though, to me, he does all the right things. He sticks his nose in where it doesn't belong, and you know, he plays with an edge, which is something everybody likes to see. But you know, his personality, you know, I don't want to say it, but you know what I mean. He's
batshit crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's.
I mean, the only difference is, I mean, him and Tom Wilson got something in common. The only difference is, though, Tom Wilson isn't making fake Twitter accounts. But
yeah, Tom Wilson also isn't going to charity events and causing scenes.
Right.
Tom Wilson also is loved by his teammates.
That is true, and he is loved by Washington, the city he plays in.
Yeah.
So there's a difference.
I mean, everybody who plays with Tom Wilson loves him. Everybody who doesn't play with Tom Wilson hates him.
It's literally the yin and yang. People hate D'Angelo, but they love Wilson. So there's your difference right there on the spectrum.
He had a good first month or two with the Flyers, and then he just went downhill from there.
Pretty much.
That's been his bugaboo with every team he plays for. He started off things are really good, and then he starts rubbing everybody the wrong way, and you know.
So let's see here. Me Metal Mike says ranting into the Islanders.
Bite your tongue.
I don't know. Here's the thing, though. Does that turn the Islanders into a legitimate contender?
Yes.
I mean, I'm just saying, though, because I feel like that team is very weird. They're very hot and cold.
They need somebody who actually knows how to kill a penalty. That would really help.
Definitely.
Their penalty killing last year was beyond. I've never seen such a bad penalty kill.
They need guys who can put the puck on the back of the net too. They can't just rely on Barzal and expect everything to be all honky dory.
Right, and don't get me wrong, Rantanen is one of those guys who can definitely contribute in that category. But here's the problem: what are you going to be paying this cat? You know, it's like it's going to be a big investment for you guys, and we all know how the Islanders have been in the past with big investments in recent memory. Have not gone well for them. So
no. Yeah, their big investments have been bad investments.
I mean, to be fair, they have better ownership now than they did 5 minutes ago, but still. Yeah. But anyway, so before we finish this guy up, Also, other news from the Flyers: Bobby Brink and Yegor Zamula both re-signed. I'm very happy with Bobby Brink coming back. I love that kid. I like his style. He's
But
really
just to
got
stay
that
healthy.
heart and fire. Yeah, he hopefully the injury bug leaves him alone. That'd be nice. Zamula, I want to see him get a little bit more of that consistency in his game, because it's just he does a couple good things and then he does a couple bad things. It's like, man, don't be like Gostisbehere, where I love you and I hate you in the same week. Like, come on, man. Give me something. Give me a reason to love you.
Brink needs to find. First of all, I love both deals.
Hmm.
You're signing Brink to a 2-year deal that's worth $3 million total, and you're paying Zamula a contract where he's making 3.4. Both totally fair deals. I think Brink needs to find more consistent ice time. He needs to find a consistent form of value to keep him on the ice and keep him getting those minutes. And with Zamula, he showed so much promise on the defensive side. And then to top it off, he showed that he can actually play on the power play. He had a
Right?
couple power play goals last
Right?
year. So
And they were pretty too.
they were very pretty. So I love these signings. I think this is really good for the Flyers' future. Really good prove-it deals for these two over the next 2 seasons. Show us what you got over the next 2 years. Prove that you belong here. Prove that you continue to be those blue-collar, hard-working type players. You're going to get rewarded. You're going to get another contract, and you're going to get a significant raise. These two players, if they develop right over the next 2 years, and it's so important, will show how valuable they are.
Mhm.
And it's also going to show how under the radar these two picks really were. We know what kind of third-round pick that Bobby Brink was. He was a good overall goal scorer in the juniors that year.
Right.
Prove it.
It's nothing and he did kick the door open. So that was nice to see when he did that. But yeah, I like these two. I really want to see them continue because they do show that heart and desire in towards the system, and I think they are thriving in it. So it's good to see that there is young talent here.
Zamula will definitely make it. I mean, he'll make the team. He may end up being the 7th defenseman. That's the only problem. But I mean, he's going to definitely make the team, I think.
Oh, no doubt. He made the team last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Brink will too. And as long as he stays healthy, I don't think he leaves. I think he stays in the lineup.
Brink spot to lose.
Right.
And that's for Zamula. He's going to rotate with Erik Johnson.
Right.
There's going to be a 3-man rotation, probably in that third pairing. That's where Zamula is going to fall for now.
Yeah,
right.
and if he outplays the other, I think Johnson is kind of, so he's kind of Mark Stolish at this point of his career. But I think it would be best for the Flyers and Zamula if they could make the team.
Here's the difference: Erik Johnson actually was playing. Stahl didn't. There's the difference.
But he's starting to get very close to that point, though.
Well, then maybe we'll get
one. He's just a voice in the locker room. That's all he is.
Hey, listen.
No, I get that.
I mean, although to be fair, whatever. Anyway, point is that depth. That's what we're talking about. But anyway, so we will be back next week for you guys here on Flyers Talk A2D with more stuff coming your way from the Flyers. Also, if there's any big things that happen in the NHL, we will talk about it as well, like Nashville making some big moves to start off the offseason. It's always that one team that comes around and does some big splashes. So far, it's Nashville. We'll see if anybody else wants to join the party. Until then, we'll sign off for now. Next week, we'll see you once again right here on a2dradio.com. We were brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. And from all of us here, you stay safe, you stay healthy out there. Peace and love, everyone.